Sometime in 2019, I was teaching Scrum at another company, and that no longer exists. And somebody asked me, "Hey, we've got some people that want to take Scrum over Zoom. Would you do that?" And I said, "Absolutely not. I don't think it would be a good experience at all." And then the very next year, 2020, lots of things changed. A lot of work became virtual. And I was forced into a situation I never thought I'd be in, which was teaching Scrum via Zoom. And you know what? I was really pleasantly surprised. And we've been doing this for several years now. And I think it's a pretty good experience. I think it's a great experience, actually. But we still get some questions about, well, can you really learn Scrum via Zoom? Is a virtual training experience still high quality? So I thought we'd throw it out there. What do you guys think about virtual Scrum training? What are the biggest differences, pros, maybe even some cons? What do you think about learning Scrum in a virtual environment?
I always got ideas, so Greg, unless you want to fight me for it.
Go for it.
All right, so yeah, I mean, I echo this. Questions about the virtual world back then, and the rules were no, we can't do it. But I found myself literally the day Chicago locked down, teaching a class out in the suburbs. And there were some people that were a little concerned about attending given everything that was going on at the time. Like the lockdowns hadn't started, but 5 people were like, I'm not coming into the office today. And they wanted to do it virtually. And so I had maybe 20 people in the room, 5 people virtual. And so I just got thrown into it, had to start working with it. Now, I don't recommend the hybrid situation. The problem with that is you're going to likely pay attention to the people in the room a whole lot more than you will the people on camera, unless they are very obvious and you can see them on very large screens and their audio is perfect. Not usually the case. So I can't say good things about a hybrid experience. However, if we're all at the same experience and it's all virtual and everybody can see everybody and you've got high bandwidth connections and great audio, I'd say it's like 95% is good. And I'll just stop there. I would avoid the hybrid experience, but if you're going to do all virtual, make sure everyone is virtual. Everyone has their own camera. Do not train to a group of 6 people on the same camera. That's also a disaster. Each individual with their own camera, high quality audio, no distractions, and I'm seeing good things. But Greg, what are your thoughts?
I think it's highly dependent upon the trainer, to be honest with you, their techniques, what they're bringing to the table. But virtual training can be extremely beneficial. It can be extremely high value. And in some cases, I think people are coming away saying that was better than if I was in person. And that's not going to be everyone's opinion, but it is very subjective depending upon your trainer's experience, their ability to communicate in a virtual environment and connect with students at that level. In person, we kind of have no choice. We're in 3D, so you can't, as a trainer, go scroll on your phone in the corner for a while and get away with that. But a virtual trainer technically could, if you're in an exercise, and then come back and magically you're there, ready to go again. Are you really focused or not? So, like I said, it's subjective there as to the quality of trainer. The experience, the knowledge transfer, yeah, you can absolutely get tremendous value out of that. The thing that I miss is that post-class interaction, especially if you have 2 or 3 days together. You honestly get to have those real-world stories that don't fit into the class curriculum or to the training. And so you kind of miss out on the auxiliary components, grabbing that donut together in the morning and that coffee during lunch or whatever the case might be. So I think there's benefit to both, but when it comes to the actual learning, yeah, the virtual, there's no limits there. It can be extremely high value.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. Like I said at the beginning, I never thought that I really enjoy teaching in a virtual environment. I would say 95% of the class is very similar. There are some things I miss about in person. Especially when a class is doing an exercise, they're solving a problem, or they're building a product in a class. I could just kind of walk around the room and kind of listen in and see how things are going and garner some insight as to what we need to spend more time on and how people are getting it. You don't get that quite as much in the Zoom, but what you do get in the Zoom environment, I think you get a lot better time management, because you have 5 minutes for an exercise, you're sent off to a 5-minute breakout room. When those 5 minutes are back, you're back in the Zoom breakout room, and you don't have people chit-chatting and wasting time and all that stuff, because, okay, you're back, let's keep going. So I think the learning we've run this experiment hundreds of times now of is virtual Scrum training worth it? Does it work? And the results are clear and positive. Yes, we still get a lot of students that are doing very well and learning and passing their certification exams and using Scrum day to day. So, I think I have no hesitation recommending virtual training to people now, which is a departure from what I would have thought and what I would have said 5 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, and one thing I've actually learned, another final point, one thing I learned about teaching in the virtual world is that obviously we're not going to be putting up flip charts and using dry erase markers and all that we used to use in the real world. Frankly, I found that stuff a little bit cumbersome and limiting in the first place. Yeah. You can't take that stuff home with you. And then after class, somebody's ripping down all this stuff and throwing it all in the garbage, and it gets very expensive. In the digital world, we're using tools like, we use Google Slides. Others use Miro or Miro. I'm sure there are other online training tools that you can use, but you can download them as a PDF. You can collaborate over distances. You can read people's handwriting because it's typed in. Right. And I've even gone as far as taking these digital tools into my in-person experience now. I no longer bring flip charts and paper into real classrooms. I have them use laptops and digital tools while we're still able to converse around it. And they get all the benefits of being able to keep a PDF, collaborate over distances without throwing a bunch of things away and having dry erase markers go dead on you in the middle of a class. That was always annoying.
I use a virtual whiteboard in my Zoom training, and I've started doing that in person now because I don't have to erase it when the board is full. I can just scroll, and then I can scroll back to it, and then you get at the end. So yeah, I think we've actually learned a lot from the virtual training world, and it's making our both virtual training and our in-person training better.
I still like my markers.
You can have them. You can have all mine too.
Greg. You can have markers.
Hey there. So if you're here and this is your first time, and you're interested in growing in your agility and understanding things like Scrum and other Agile topics, then be sure to get started by hitting that subscribe button and also that bell. You're going to get notifications, and I don't want you to miss out on a thing.